How long is this thing gonna hold up?
I'm hoping that this doesn't come crashing down. She's a little worried. You a little worried?
Whoa!
This brings back so many memories. That's it. One last look, y'all. Let's pull this apart. All right, y'all. I am excited. It is about the perfect time to redo a project that I've been wanting to redo now for the longest time. And that is these solar racks. There's nothing wrong with these solar racks, at least right now. They're still holding up, they're still doing okay. But I want to redo this before something does happen. I didn't put a whole lot of money into it. It was only supposed to be temporary because we weren't sure exactly where we were going to put the house. A lot has changed since we moved out here, and our house location has changed. We moved everything to a much better spot where we like it, and it's conveniently pretty close to our solar setup, so we don't have to move any of our equipment inside the shed, and we can keep the solar racks here. So I am going to take this down and build a much sturdier, stronger, longer lasting rack so it will stand the test of time. But I want to do this quickly because we are currently using the solar energy. But once I take this down, we're going to be on a limited energy budget. So the quicker I can take this down, set it back up again, it'll be much better for everyone. So let me kind of take you around. Let's reminisce a bit. I'll show you what I built, and then we'll get right into the build, and we'll show you how it's going to be much, much sturdier. So the construction of these solar panel racks is pretty much 95% 2x4s, and then some 4x6 posts. Now, I designed and constructed these racks based on my building knowledge at the time, which was very limited, and I wasn't even thinking about like 2x6s, 2x8s and stuff like that. So I was thinking like, how do I build this using 2x4s? Not the best, but it has held up for a few years now. So I'm really impressed with that. But obviously, I'm gonna show you all the problems. I'm gonna show you all the ins and outs of what's going on here. But I think I did pretty good for the time. So because I use 2x4s, it's not the strongest. These are 10 feet long, and you can see from a distance that they are bending in the middle, but they haven't broken, which is nice. And so not only are they bending toward the middle, but I think they also kind of bend toward the front because, I mean, it's just 2x4s on the front and the back. 2x4s is corner posts. 2x4s is bracing and what the panels are mounted to. You can see here how I've mounted the panels to the 2x4s. This is tricky to do because how do you get the holes drilled in just the right spot for the panels? And I had this like crazy system of using colored dots in order to get the holes in just the right place, but I managed it and it worked pretty well. But we're gonna be doing away with all that. And because I knew these 2x4s wouldn't be quite strong enough to hold the panels in place without really dipping, I've added 2x4s on the bottom as like a brace to kind of give this some rigidity. You know, another big problem with these is that it's all untreated wood. So they will probably rot eventually. I did kind of treat it myself. I oiled all these boards. It's probably why it's lasted as long as it has. I just put a couple of coats of linseed oil, boiled linseed oil over it. So I think that has helped, but it'll eventually rot and break. But I am really pleased with what I did here, at least for a temporary situation. I mean, ever since I put it up, I was a little nervous about the construction, but it has held up to some pretty strong winds. But it is time to it's time to build something bigger, better, and stronger. As you can see, you know, because of my limited construction knowledge, I built like 3 separate racks to hold this all in. So now I'm gonna condense this all into one rack. So the panels will be closer together. They'll be on a much more sturdy surface, and this whole thing, I won't have to worry about it as much. But it's time to take all this apart and build something I can be proud of. We're ready to make this a permanent structure. Let's go. So the reason why I waited to this specific time of year to do this build is because it's right about the perfect time of year. The temperatures are perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. We're at a point now where we're very low energy use. So I really feel like this is the time to hit it and just get it done, and it'll be ready to go for when the winter time comes, and then we'll need a little extra energy for that heat. All right, so the batteries are at 49.6. They are full. So I can start this build whenever I am ready, but I still got some work to do to prep for this. But I'm ready to go. I want a full set of batteries before I start taking these panels down. All right, it has just been about forever since I've been into this box. I think I knew I'd have to do it again eventually, but could make it a little easier to get in there. So all these breakers have numbers on it, but now that I look at it, some of the strings are going to different breakers, but I got them all numbered here. This is the way it should work. Now all these panels here are strung together in groups of 3. So altogether there's 5 groups of 3 panels that are wired into this combiner box. And I believe that it works from number 5 going all the way back there to number 1 being right here, which is closest to the box. I believe that's how that works, but we'll find out here pretty quickly. See, I got them all numbered here, but I shouldn't really have to mess too much with the box. I really should just have to shut off the breaker, and that way it should stop sending energy to the combiner box, and I will go from there. So I can test my theory out. Number 5 comes out right here and gets connected. Where does it get connected? I actually did have numbers here, but they just faded over time. So number 5 is connected here. Comes down, runs for this one right here. So this one we're gonna track. So tracing this back, I am correct. My memory serves me right. And this is number 5. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut this down and start taking off those panels. I'm going to do this 1 string at a time. That way we can still collect a bit of energy while I'm doing this. All right, y'all, let's get to work. I'm gonna have to take off some of these bracer boards in order to get some of these panels loose, so I'm hoping that this doesn't come crashing down. You know, it's holding up right now because it's all together, but when I start taking things apart, it will still hold up. This board is about to come down, yo. All right, panel number 2. That first one should be the toughest, and then these should be a little bit easier going down, I would think. But I'm happy now that I got at least 1 panel off. That should be a lot less weight. Well, the sun is setting. We're not really pulling any power from these panels now anyway, so I just went and hit all the breakers, and I'm just gonna go to town, getting as many of these down as I can. Now is the perfect time to do it since we're not pulling any energy. To go tonight and just keep doing what I've been doing, get all these panels down, then maybe tomorrow I can kind of hook them up. Maybe we're not drawing as much power as we can off of these panels, but even if we're getting some, it's better than none. It'll keep the refrigerator and the freezer going and all that, so gotta get this done ASAP. Good morning, good morning. Beautiful day. I was working late into the night last night and some into this morning. Let's see what we're working at as far as the batteries go. So we are at 48 volts. Not too bad considering no power overnight. Well, we normally don't get power overnight, but we are not gonna get a charge because I've disconnected all the panels at this point. I still have 6 I have to remove from the racks. So you can see I got everything removed from here, all 6 over there. I got all 3 removed from that one. Now it's just these last 6. I don't think that'll take too long. Once I got all these panels off, I'm gonna try and arrange them around this area and reconnect them. Now, I probably won't be getting a lot of power off of those panels, not at, definitely not full capacity, but if I can collect some power, it might be enough to top off the batteries again. Either way, it'll kind of extend the amount of time I have to kind of like get everything together before the batteries run out of juice. One thing is that these 2x4 braces were kind of like an afterthought on the build. So a lot of them are kind of covering these bolts right here. So I kind of have to take this off, kind of have to take these off, then I can get at some of the hardware. So that part has been making me a little nervous. But once I take these braces off, they're still holding up pretty well. So it's just taking it one step at a time and just making that progress little by little. And so far, so good. So I get both of the ends. Then I get the middle. That way I got better control over the board. All this is, I figured all this by trial and error so far. See, that was super easy. Sooner I get these panels off, the better I'll feel. Today's supposed to be like maybe in the mid 80s. I already took the AC out, so I mean, they'll just have to kind of make do with fans. Yeah, it might still be an extra draw of energy until I can maybe get these into a position where maybe they're pulling in a little bit of energy. I'm always a little cautious with this because these are the top ones, so I got to get these off pretty carefully. I want to reduce the amount of weight and make sure nothing breaks while doing it. Now I like these middle ones. These middle ones are a lot easier. These bolts are pretty easy to get at, so I just undo these things real quick. This impact wrench has been absolutely fantastic. It's a fantastic tool. I picked this up with the Ryobi days, got some of them batteries, and then you get a free tool. This was a good choice. Okay, so with this one I gotta be careful. Got a post here, so what I wanna do is make sure I'm not rubbing that up against this post here. Front panels are always the easiest, but I'll be glad once I get these, I got bolts in here, but for these ones, these are small lag screws. At this point, I don't even know how I got these in. I might not have the best off-grid skills, but what we got is a lot of grit and determination. This brings back so many memories in building this thing. And I was pretty proud of it too. It has served us well over the years. But I'm gonna be pretty happy when we get something permanent installed. I think that's gonna be awesome. So 3 more panels to go. I'm gonna get those down, same as these other 3, then it'll be time for the next step. Let's do it, y'all. All right, so I got all the panels off, and I'm bringing Jess out here because I wanna see Jess's reaction to this. You ready?
Ready. Whoa. It's all naked. It's weird seeing it like that. It doesn't look like it's falling apart exactly, but I mean, you can see this wood is like really weathered in some areas where the panels like weren't sitting. It's like more weathered. I think that's something that we've been both kind of worried about. Like, how long is this thing gonna hold up? So it's kind of a relief getting them off of here and getting a new thing built. There's a walking stick on you.
Probably thinks I'm a part of nature with the brown colored shirt.
Yeah.
So I think I was just talking to you not too long ago how like in some thumbnails and in the old footage, you could see these 3 racks kind of like in the background, just kind of doing their thing.
Yep.
And just to see them kind of bare and naked like this, it's just a trip.
I know, it's always just kind of in the background of our everyday life too.
I think that's kind of how you want it. You set up something like this and then you just kind of forget about it. Of course, we couldn't forget about this. It's just, eventually it would have failed. I don't know. We probably got as lucky that it lasted as long as it did, but it probably could have lasted maybe another year or so. But obviously this is just untreated lumber. It is going to go eventually, but it's time to take something kind of temporary and make something a little bit more permanent. I'm excited. All right, are you concerned at all about that we have no power coming in?
A little bit. I'm not planning on using a bunch of power.
We actually didn't use too much power last night. When I checked, we were at 48 volts. So I'm going to check again, but I'm going to clear out some of this grass right now, and then I'm going to try sort of re-hooking up some of these panels to bring in power.
Okay, let me know if you need any help.
All right. Okay, so I got all the panels off. We see we've lost a bit of energy since then, 47.6. I'm just gonna knock out some of that grass real quick, try and arrange the panels, and then see if I can't get them hooked up, see if I can't start bringing a little bit of energy. If I can get the batteries a little bit more topped off before the morning, that would be fantastic. Okay, so I got out here and I just knocked some of the grass around here down, some of the grass, some of the weeds. And I'm taking a look around, and before, during the monsoons, it was like green out here, and now we kind of have our own fall colors. Everything's kind of like red and orange. All the weeds have turned sort of like your autumn colors, so very nice. But now that I got everything sort of knocked down, I am going to lay out these panels as best I can and try and hook up as many as I can to try and get power back into the batteries. And it is just before noon, so I'll see if I can. I mean, we're not using that much energy, so maybe I could still top off the batteries. That would be really nice. I mean, it is going to take some time to sort of disassemble these racks and then reassemble a whole nother rack. So if I can get a little bit of power in between then, that would be very nice, because we probably only got the batteries right now would probably only last 3, maybe 4 days tops. So I think we can pull in some energy kind of while I'm working. So I think my first set of panels, I'm going to move them right here. So I'm going to get these wires back out of the way. That'll be kind of important how I lay these out. I got to make sure the wires are pointing toward the combiner box. And as soon as I lay these panels out, I'm going to hook them up and start getting power from them. All right, negative to positive, negative to positive. Now just hook up the negative here and the positive over there. All right, you ready? Now if I flip the number 1 switch, we should be getting power already. We should be getting some power to the batteries right now. Let's see how much we're pulling in. So obviously not a lot. Looks like we're pulling in about 150 watts. Right now, this will probably just keep us from draining too much. Like, we'll still be draining, but hopefully I'll hook up some more and then we'll be building up throughout the day. She's a little worried. You a little worried? All right, I got another set of panels hooked up, 2 sets. And already with just these 2 sets, we're pulling in enough power to start charging the batteries. We're pulling in almost 600 watts. Batteries are already charging. I think it was at 47.4, now we're at 47.6. So this is good, this is good. All right, I'm gonna get all the panels I can attached, and we'll just start drawing in as much power as we can. Hopefully we'll get these batteries topped off before the sun sets. So I got all the panels hooked back up again. Pulling in over 2,000 watts now, and took maybe just a little under an hour to hook up all these panels, and the batteries are almost full again. I love solar power. It may look like a mess right now, but I mean, we're pulling in quite a bit of power and our batteries are almost charged again, and it's still just before noon, so I think that's pretty good. 48.9. I mean, we'll be at full charge within another hour, so we're good. It just shows you at this time of year how little power we use. The batteries are almost full again. Like, obviously these panels aren't pulling in at full capacity, and it's still more than enough for what we're using right now. Done with lunch. Now it's a little bit cloudy, but let's see if we got a full charge on them batteries. Oh, not quite, but almost there. 49.4. It's full at 49.6, but I'm gonna take that as a win. I feel a lot better. I know Jess feels a lot better. She can run those fans inside there. It's a little warm inside the RV, but that's okay because now I can start taking these apart and put up the new rack. Basically, all this will be coming down, but I'm going to leave this one post. This post will be the only memory of this whole rack. The combiner box is attached to it, so I'll just build the new rack right in this space, and the new rack will actually be smaller than this rack, so there shouldn't be any problems with the wiring or anything like that, and should be ready to go. So I just start at the east end, work my way over to the west, and let's pull this apart. Now these corner posts, and I say corner posts lightly because it's just a couple of 2x4s stuck into the ground. I think there's just a little bit of gravel in there, so I'm wondering if I can just pull these out. Now what you want to see for a solar rack. Whoa. This wood was definitely rotting and probably being eaten out by termites. I think that's definitely some termite damage. Originally I had the idea of making these adjustable. I ended up not liking that idea, so I just stuck some 2x4s in the corners to kind of support it. And it held up for a while, but you could see it definitely wouldn't have held up much longer. Now these center posts are cemented in, so there's not going to be pulling that out, at least I hope not. One rack down, 2 more to go. All right, Jess is gonna see my handiwork, or my de-handiwork. Is that what you would say? I could tear things apart a lot easier than I can put things together.
Whoa! It's gone.
It's gone.
It's crazy.
What do you think?
Crazy. It's weird to see that all open there.
There's just one remnant of the rack's former glory, and that's gonna stay. Those racks have been up here for years. So like, man, to see this wide open space, does it make you feel empty inside?
No, not really. I'm imagining the new rack up there.
Oh, oh. What did you tell me when I connected the panels again and the batteries were filling up? You were like, why do we even need a rack? Remember that?
Yeah.
Why do we even need a rack? They're doing just fine lying on the ground. Easier to clean.
That's true. Which we should do.
That's your job. Your job is to
What?
clean the Duke.
Oh, no.
Your job is to clean the bird Duke. All right, well, all disassembled. Y'all remember Johnny 5? No disassemble. Short circuit?
don't think I've ever seen Short Circuit.
What? Movie night. Putting that on the list. She hasn't seen Short Circuit. Oh my goodness. Well, I did disassemble. Now it's time to reassemble a whole nother rack. This one thing is going to be sturdy. This thing is going to be tough. We are never going to have to worry about this rack again. 100-mile-per-hour winds, I don't care. This rack ain't going nowhere. It's gonna be a permanent fixture on the homestead now, and I am excited. Oh, you get a rack, you get a rack, you get a rack. I'm just building one rack, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
That's it, one last look, y'all. Empty space. As we stand amid a pile of wood and panels, looks so barren out here. But I'm excited. I think this is a really great opportunity to build something better, stronger than what we had before, and maybe even more efficient. I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to see this go up. All right, don't forget to give this a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.